How did we get to trust? I mean, at once upon a time, there wasn't trust. It was in 1986. In 1986, the 30-year fixed mortgages were the name of the game, and the average interest rate was around 10%. Everybody take a deep breath. And that was really good. I paid 16.5% for my first home in 1973. High percentage of first-time home builders or buyers. Whole bunch of people coming in, never been in a home before. Totally renters. Think about that, what that perception was of what a new home was. It's not common to buy on the first time out. I mean, it wasn't every day, but boy, on a Saturday, you'd have 2 or 3 floor pops. Okay, anybody remember a floor pop? Medium home size, 1,500 square feet, pushing it really. A little bit less. High percentage of single-story homes. I remember the first time we built a 2-story. That was something. We closed it down, went and looked at it at Gemcraft. Closed down the office, and everybody went out and looked at the 2-story. Hey, it's got stairs, man. They go up. Planned communities were in their infancy. They just weren't everywhere, and they weren't beautifully manicured, and they didn't have stores and 7-Elevens, and it was amazing. What's a model home trap? Anybody? Fence them in, man. Keep them doggies rolling. Fence them in. That was the prize. You fenced them in. You just did that. If you got them in, boy, you got them in. We tried to gate them, but they wouldn't let us do that. There was a universal new home sales technique. Universal. And it was called track. That's just the way you did it. That's the way everybody did it. You get on that track and you go around that little track. And the customer got on that track and went around that track. Meet and greet. Hi, welcome to Evergreen Homes. This is my first time. Is this your first time out? Well, I won't go there. We could spend hours back and forth. What was going on when I asked if I was a salesperson? Is this your first time out? What was really going on? Say again, Gene? Is it mine or is it somebody else's? And if it's somebody else's, I don't have time. He's not here today. Very salesperson oriented. Qualify. Has anybody taken the time to explain to you how much home you can get for your money? Do I really care if they understand how much home they can get for their money in 1986? What do I care about? Can you afford it? Can you afford it? Ergo, hey, you're my customer. Now I want to know if you're a worthwhile customer. I'm doing everything I can to screen this person out. Demo. What was a demo? It was really the Vanna White show. This is the living room, as opposed to this being the kitchen. That's why it's got the big silver thing in it. It's fun walking down, isn't it? Then you drive the community. Always the same direction. That's the tennis court, something to do with a net. That's the pool, big water. And our salespeople were earning their 6%, or our realtors thought they were. And then close hard, close early, close often. The 2 things we looked for when we hired a salesperson in 1986, product knowledge. Can you regurgitate everything that is in this home? And will you close hard and will you close early and often? I think we've mentioned early and often before. The interesting part about track selling is it worked. It worked real well on first-time home buyers. It was preeminently easy to teach. You just gave them a bunch of questions. They memorized the questions. They asked the questions. We're done. And if it was that easy to teach, it was that easy to manage. Stay on the track, little train going around the circle. Don't get off the track. Everything works great. Salespeople loved it. They loved it. They loved it because they asked the questions that we told them to ask. If they didn't make the sale, whose fault was it that they didn't make the sale? It was ours. It wasn't theirs. They did what they were told to do. Scary days. Scary, scary days. And it was everywhere. On a Saturday, you go out to a community. You maybe visit 4, 5, 6 communities in one day. And every time you walked into that office, somebody dressed exactly like the person before got up and said, "Welcome to blankety blank homes. Is this your first time out?" About the 5th time, what do you think happened with that customer walking in, and all of a sudden somebody jumped up and said, "Is this your first time out?" Well, they started answering the questions before they were even asked. Yes, it is my first time out. Yes, they have told me how much I can get for my home. And yes, I am your customer. Or no to all of the above. So it being everywhere, and them happening everywhere, customer went in and they had the same questions, the same answers, the same product knowledge, because we were building the same stuff in 1986. We had the same construction speak. And what happened? Sooner or later, more often sooner than later, what happened? Palms up. No, I'm just looking. I'm just looking. We do that, do we not? You go into the store, someone says, "Can I?" No, I'm just looking. 2 vultures sitting on a, Thought was maybe, just maybe times are changing. The business is changing, the customer's changing. Homes are getting larger. We're offering more. Once upon a time in the land far, far away, it was like Henry Ford, all homes were black. You can get any color you want as long as it's black. Homes were really black. Would have been easier though. There were more second-time homeowners, move-ups, getting out of that real sensitive first-time buyer where if that interest rate hiccuped to half a point, we lost half our buyers. We're getting into a little bit more stable. They have more experience, more knowledge, more expectations, and guess what? They had nothing compared to what your customer has today in the way of knowledge, experience, and expectations. Logically, if a customer wanted a customized home, what did we think? We thought very logically, they probably want a customized presentation or experience. They want the customized home and they're willing to pay for it. They'll probably want a customized presentation. So it's time to provide a new home buying, and the key word here is experience. Not just go in and buy a home, but go in and buy a home and have it be an experience. Changing the experience meant changing the process. And the process did change. Track selling is based on rigid, memorized, canned presentation. It is entirely based on the manager's opinion. Manager says, do this. Person goes and does this. It's entirely external. Here are the questions. Here are the answers. Go forth, my children, and sell. It's a different breed of cat in our world. And started with needs analysis. And we'll talk about why in a second. But it focuses on the elements that are important to the customer. What do they want? Not what do we want them to want, but what do they specifically want? And that was revolutionary 25 years ago, gang. We were in the business. We knew what they want. We were the ones that designed it. But all of a sudden, we started to say, hey, maybe you want a different color granite or a different color paint. And we let the cat out of the bag. And if they wanted a little different paint, they wanted a little different floor. And then they wanted a little different grass. And then they wanted a little different fence. And pretty soon, it was a matter of not what we told them, but what they told us. And what we wanted to avoid was a shotgun approach. We wanted to avoid the situation where what made for a good salesman was an ability to give a litany of the features and benefits and just hope like heck that one of these things met the customer's needs. So we were going to change the process and change the experience, and we decided to do it with trust. We started at the lowest common denominator, and that lowest common denominator, very simply, was to start with, why do people buy? Not why do they shop, but why do they buy? The difference between shopping and buying is, when does the wallet come out? We know why they shop, because they want stuff. When they buy is when the want ends up coming out of the wallet. Okay? So that was the premise, the foundation of everything with trust, was what we wanted to do was to focus it on the customer. The first job of the salesperson then was to figure out the needs. Go figure them out. What are the customer's needs? Not what we're going to tell them or what we're going to try and create in them, but what are their needs? They have needs. They have experiences. They have background. They want those needs satisfied. They'll pull the wallet out when they perceive the needs are satisfied. Why are customers' palms up? They're palms up because they've been swooped on by the vultures in the new car store, in the other homes that they've purchased, in the jewelry store, everywhere else they've been swooped on. And they're tired of having things done to them. And what we wanted to do was to change the experience where we weren't doing things to, but we were doing things for.